In June of 2021, I made a video comparing XPEL PPF to Halo EFX, which is a sprayable vinyl product. And at the end of that video, I said I was going to put the Halo EFX on my truck. I did that, although I never made a video. You can see the results here. Everything from the silver line down is covered in Halo EFX. From the silver line up is factory paint, except for the hood, which also has some Halo EFX on it. So that was, I made the video in June of 2021. It was October of 2021 when I finally got around to actually getting the truck done. So almost 4 years. In 2 weeks, the paint, or the PPF, the Halo, will be 4 years old, and it's got about 112,000 miles on it. So I thought I'd make a long-term video. You can see there's some chips in it in places. There's another one here. There's a big one here where I caught a huge rock, but the paint underneath it's saved. You can see all over the hood there are places where my old truck would have just been completely tore up with all the rock chips, and the Halo seems to have done a good job. You can see the front edge here is peppered really well. So I'm getting ready to take it off. I've got some damage here. What happened here was I had a ratchet strap in the back that was hooked to the corner, and it came over and came past here and then got caught in the wheel, and as the wheel pulled on it, it tugged right there and it rubbed some off. But for the most part, the PPF or the Halo EFX has held up really well. I'm interested to see what the factory paint looks like underneath it, so I'm getting ready to start pulling it off to check the factory paint under it and kind of do a long-term report. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna put some new Halo on in a different color. It took me about 90 minutes to peel all of the Halo EFX off of the tailgate. Some of it came off in nice big chunks, but a lot of it came off in little tiny pieces. And I was really discouraged at how long it was taking. My fingers were sore, my fingernails were breaking. And I thought it was because I'd gotten the product on too thin, but I realized later that it wasn't that it was actually an issue with the fact that it was just old and brittle and it had lost its elasticity. So I was able to get going a little bit faster. You can see it leaves this white haze, but that wipes off pretty easily. And then at the top, I've got that layer of adhesive where I had a piece of vinyl striping separating the black from the white, which is certainly something I wouldn't do again. That was actually very difficult to clean off with that vinyl stripe. It was there because of an issue with how I'd laid the paint down the first time, but I know how to avoid that now. So once I realized that the problem was not that it was too thin, it was just it was brittle, I decided to see if a pressure washer would blast it off, and sure enough, it comes off super easy with a pressure washer. It only took me about an hour to pressure wash the entire truck and get all of the Halo off, and the bulk of the vinyl stripe also came off with the pressure washer, so that was really great. And then I had to go through and vacuum up all of the stuff that I blasted off because it came off in real tiny pieces. You can see how small those pieces were. I actually had to wait for the floor to dry before I could vacuum them up really well, but once the floor dried, I vacuumed it up, and it was, it was about 2.5 gallons of that vinyl material there that I vacuumed up. So all told, I spent about 5 hours on the truck, peeling it off for an hour and a half, struggling with how to get it off, then blasting it, then vacuuming it, and then figuring out how to get the haze off, because the haze wasn't wiping off nearly as easily in areas that I used the pressure washer. What I found out after some experimenting, the best thing to do is to use some goof off. I had a gallon of it already around. A little goof off on a paper towel, take a clean paper towel in your other hand, and go Karate Kid on it. Wax on, scrub it one way with the goof off paper towel and then buff it dry with the other one, and in about an hour I was able to buff off all the haze. Then just wash the truck with a regular car wash soap and water, and it turns out looking really good. So it took me about 5 hours, but if I had it all to do over again, knowing what I know now, I think I could strip it all off in 3 hours. And so my biggest advice is to blast it with the pressure washer inside your garage so the shreds don't wind up all over your yard. Here's what everything looks like with the halo removed. My phone's not focusing great, but the hood looks absolutely fantastic. It looks factory new, except for right here at the front where I didn't put any PPF because I had a bug deflector. And that was a mistake because the bug deflector sat there and just scuffed up and rubbed on the factory paint. Now, since I put the bug deflector on there, it'll be hidden, but it's still pretty frustrating that I could have easily avoided that. Here on the fender, you can see the line where the halo was below and not above because it's lighter, it's faded, and it's got a lot of swirl marks on the upper half where I didn't put the PPF on the car. It would have actually been easier to put the PPF on the entire car and not have it two-tone like that, or even, it still could have been two-tone, just not masked off, but I just didn't think about it. I was focused on rock chips, not fading and swirl marks. But you can see the side of the truck, which has 112,000 miles on it, looks brand new. It looks like a mirror. It's got a factory level of orange peel. Once again, up above where I had the halo, there's a pretty bad scratch right there, and a lot of swirl marks and fading. The tailgate looks completely new, and coming down the side, it just looks absolutely amazing. I can't believe this truck's been doing 110,000 plus miles up and down the interstate. There's one scratch on the back passenger's door, but the PPF wasn't damaged there, so I'm pretty sure that scratch was there before I got the PPF on. And then there's a little issue on the front passenger's fender where my masking tape lifted while I was spraying that fender, and I got a little bit of clear where there was no halo, and so it's like a run. I'm going to have to get a little bit of sandpaper and sand that down and buff it out.